Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. It was a disappointment to miss the Summer Olympics of 2020. They were canceled because of the global pandemic. Most people enjoy watching these gifted athletes, men and women who achieve above and beyond the norm. We say gifted because we see their physique and abilities as inborn, natural gifts from great genes or genetic miracles. But Malcolm Gladwell explains in his book Outliers that success in any field is much more than genetics. The term outliers is used in statistics to refer to data points that differ significantly from the majority of data points, lying outside the norm. In terms of success, outliers are those who achieve great things in their field and stand out far above others. But we oversimplify how they get there. Often we attribute their success to natural giftedness, but when looking scientifically at success, we find that it depends on much more than individual qualities and innate talent. For example, look at the relationship between IQ and success. Researchers have found that the correlation between IQ and achievement is clear until about 120, which is considered a high but not outstanding IQ. After 120, there is little difference between the achievement levels of someone with an IQ of 120 and the person with an exceptionally high IQ of 170. And the IQ Intelligent Index isn't comprehensive. People with high creative or practical intelligence also show great potential for success. Further, no matter how gifted someone is, they don't achieve outstanding success without practice. In fact, practice seems to be much more powerful than we realize. Research done over a variety of complex fields shows that the more successful participants were those that practiced the most. In fact, the number 10,000 kept coming up as an important threshold for true expertise. 10,000 hours of practice. Depending on how long you practice a day, that can easily equate to 10 years or more of regular, determined practice. So while having somewhat above average intelligence or talent helps, or a specific physical build, none of these will make you successful without your commitment to putting in the work, lots of practice. Gladwell references several success stories, making yet another point that not only do you need to practice, but you need the opportunities to practice. Sometimes, circumstances lead to access to practice time, and sometimes they don't. The Beatles, for instance, played in clubs in Hamburg, Germany. The norm in these clubs was to play 8-hour sets, 7 days a week. So by the time the Beatles experienced their renown in 1964, they had built up more practice time in live performances than most bands have in their whole performance lifetime. Bill Gates is another success story who also accumulated massive hours of practice at the computer. Again, the circumstances were just right. In 1968, Gates had the rare opportunity to have extensive computer time at his private school. As an 8th grade student, he had computer access that even college students at the time wouldn't get. He racked up hours of practice. Gladwell states that this chance for computer time was only one of the 9 special opportunities afforded to Gates. So, while Gates can be credited with intelligence and drive, these rare circumstances clearly aided his success. Success is achieved through a combination of advantages and opportunities, sometimes very specific and extraordinary, and even affected by environment and cultural background. Gladwell uses the tallest tree in the forest as an example. Clearly, it came from a good seed. But beyond that, its superior growth is affected by many factors. Its great stature is the result of everything from the amount of rain received during its crucial seedling years to its position, far enough from other trees to receive the optimal amount of the sun's energy, but close enough to other trees to be protected. He suggests that human outliers experience the same advantage, many of which are not within their control or related to their specific personal qualities. How about this unexpected example? Your birth date gives you a better chance to succeed in sports. After studying rosters and birth dates for youth sports teams, researchers found that the vast majority of players on their top-tier teams had similar birth months. Upon investigation, the birth dates were connected with age cutoff dates for teams. The older, more mature players on the initial teams succeeded because they had an age advantage. A cutoff date of January 1st meant that if you were born on January 2nd, you would have to wait a year to join. But then you would be the oldest player on your team. Your chances of being larger and more physically mature were high, and you would get noticed, receive more coaching and perhaps better gear, and be promoted to the top-tier teams. Obviously, no one expected this kind of discrimination. Yet follow-up studies found birth dates grouped near cutoff dates to be common on elite teams throughout both Europe and the United States, and even evident on professional teams. And because entry into school is governed by cutoff dates as well, there is evidence that your birth month can affect your chance of being in gifted and talented programs or achieving the highest test scores. The point is that we never suspect that something as arbitrary as your birth month could be statistically significant in various arenas of success. Even your cultural background can boost your chance for success. People raised in cultures that depend on difficult work and grueling hours are more apt to put in the determined practice it takes to build expertise. Korean Air offers an interesting example of how cultural norms actually inhibited success. Korean Air had an unacceptable number of crashes, and though several issues were identified, one was particularly related to their culture. The crash of Flight 801 in 1997 involved a cultural communication style that hindered effective communication in crisis. The weather was bad and visibility poor. The first officer, with due cultural respect for the captain, gently hinted several times that the captain should not try to land. Unfortunately, the first officer, in a spirit of proper deference to his superior, was not forceful, and the captain did not heed the advice until it was too late. Interestingly, Korean Air acknowledged the cultural obstacle. They solved it by having their cockpit crew use English to communicate while in flight, thus giving the crew enough distance from their cultural norms to speak more directly and effectively. So, this book has implications for us individually and culturally. If you are about to throw in the towel on fiddle lessons, adjust your expectations. You are probably in the double or triple digits of practice hours, so no one expects you to be maestro yet. Culturally, this book can shoot down some of our myths about who succeeds and why, and hopefully make us more sensitive. Our awareness can help us recognize opportunities, or the lack thereof, for various groups of people in our personal lives, our businesses, and our communities. We can't all be outliers just by virtue of the definition of the word, but more of us can be encouraged to achieve. So, while you might not be more than an enthusiastic spectator at the Olympics, you can make small changes. You can look for ways to improve your circumstances, promote more equal access to opportunities, and encourage determination. In this way, perhaps more people can achieve what they consider to be success.